G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life, and today by popular request I'm going to be comparing my 2006 Honda Accord Euro 6-speed manual with this 2008 Nissan Skyline 250GT. In terms of exterior styling, in my opinion, I think both of them look good, but I just feel like the Accord is a bit more timeless. And another advantage that my car obviously has is that it has the sports kit, which includes the side skirts, and then I added the Flow Designs lip kit on, and it has 18-inch wheels rather than 16-inch wheels, so it just helps to give this car a lot more presence. The engines though is where it gets quite interesting. The Skyline GT250 over here has Nissan's VQ25HR. It's a 2.5 litre V6. It makes 165 kilowatt or 220 horsepower and 263 newton meters of torque, which out of the box is quite a lot more hefty than the engine that's in my car. Mine has a K24A3. It's a 2.4 litre inline 4. It makes from factory 140 kilowatt and 223 newton meters. And the other interesting thing about this car is that naturally it is rear wheel drive. So in many ways this is actually almost kind of like a Nissan 3 Series, and it's paired up with a 5-speed automatic. But you could also get this with a VQ35 and VQ37 HR, which made around 230 to 245 kilowatt depending on the variant, and they came with a 7-speed automatic. And so I've heard they're actually really fast and really good cars, but I wanted to compare the 2.5 with my 2.4 because it's only fair to sort of compare something that's around the same displacement. The interior of the Skyline has actually really surprised me. I used to hate on these things because I thought they were really ugly, sounded awful, and had really cheap plasticky interiors like most other Nissans from the era. And while some of the material choices aren't exactly amazing, everything at least looks pretty nice. The gauge cluster looks really cool with the nice blue backlit theme, and you look down, you're like, dang, this thing revs to 7,600 RPM. And it's better equipped. It's got auto lights and wipers, electric seats, it's got Tiptronic mode down here, it's got a reversing camera, keyless entry and push button start, so it is generally a very nicely equipped car. The only things I don't like is that it's still a Nissan, and specifically one from the Carlos Ghosn era where, you know, you put the indicators on and you can see a hole back here, and it's just like, come on man, like that just shouldn't even happen. You know, it doesn't have cruise control. The steering wheel after only 60,000 Ks is starting to fall to bits on here and getting sun fade on it. The infotainment system is an absolute eyesore, and nothing against the Japanese people, but they don't speak English, and with a lot of these JDM only cars, they have these proprietary systems in them where you can't change the language, you can't update the maps on them, and so you're just left with this useless eyesore of a system in the middle. But in comparison with the Accord Euro, it's still a very nice interior. I just think the Accord has, you know, slightly better feeling indicator stalks and so on, a slightly nicer steering wheel, a little bit less cluttered center stack here, which just makes it a little bit more easy to use. But the Nissan is still nice, it's well equipped, it's reasonably well built, and is equally as comfortable and spacious. 3, 2, 1, go. And seeing as that rolling race was a touch short because we sort of ran into some traffic problems, we'll throw in a 0 to 100 comparison for good measure. First, the Skyline. There we go, 7 seconds exactly. And now the Accord. As predicted, because this is obviously manual and is definitely making more power and a little bit lighter, it's quite a bit faster. That did it in 6.1 seconds to 100, which is not the best time that I've ever done, but it's pretty darn close. Driving the Skyline 250GT, I want to explain myself a bit and give my reasons why I generally don't like anything with a VQ in it, and it's because of that. The level of tin and rasp in that exhaust just makes me want to jump off a bridge. I remember I was at a car meet fairly recently and a 350Z was just revving the crap out of its engine, and it sounded so bad. Honestly, I had to cover my ears. It hurt so much to listen to. And unfortunately, with the window down where you can actually hear the exhaust, this is no different. It just has that painful, shrill, high-pitched sound to it that I just could never get over. But thankfully, the window goes up, and then it sounds lovely. It's extremely comfortable, very, very smooth drivetrain. It rev matches downshifts, the Tiptronic mode works perfectly, and I gotta say, 7,600 RPM is not bad. And it's pretty quick. And then you get it out on the open road. Man, it's nice to drive, eh? Really comfortable. There's really good padding on the door and on the armrest, which is just fantastic. It's extremely comfortable, rides really well, very quiet. It's just a really nice car to drive, which I do like, and I've been thoroughly impressed. It'll rev match downshifts, even into second. Oh yeah. And it's no slouch. Down the gears. Oh, I do like that. The rev match downshifts on this are really cool because of course it's naturally aspirated. So it does that nice whoop on the downshift. It's quite snappy to go down gears. I really like it, eh? It nearly goes to 8,000 RPM. I revved it like right out. Mate, this is a good car. This is a really good car. I am thoroughly impressed by this. Driving the Accord Euro. If we're talking stock versus stock and automatic versus automatic, the Skyline definitely has a lot more power. It has a much higher revving and probably more lively engine right out of the box, and it has a better transmission, shorter gears, and it rev matches downshifts. However, when you modify an Accord Euro, it becomes quite different. And then suddenly it does rev really high and is a lot more lively as well, and of course this car is available with a manual transmission. That is kind of the difference between these two cars. The Skyline is a really nice cruiser. It's more comfortable than the Accord, it has more features. The V6 is definitely a lot smoother than a 4-cylinder, as you would expect. The transmission is really good, suits open road driving well, but you know, once you modify an Accord like this, it's faster. In my mind, it has a much more sonorous engine sound. It's just the more sprightly, more driver-centric option. But in general, both of these cars are really, really good. The advantages of the Skyline is that if you're not happy with the 250, you can get a 350 or a 370 and get way more power than an Accord Euro. It's got a really good transmission, it rev matches downshifts, the engine makes great power, it's well equipped, it's extremely comfortable, but in my mind it doesn't look the best, the engine doesn't sound the best, and there's no manual option. The advantages of the Accord, the K24, if you put any intake you want on it, it will sound amazing. In my mind, the interior and exterior styling is a little bit more timeless, and you can get them New Zealand used, so you don't have to deal with all the Japanese stuff. The disadvantages, the engine will never make any more than about 150, 160 wheel kilowatt. The automatic is not as good as the Skyline, it's very long gears. But they're both fantastic cars, and if you get either one of them, you're going to be very, very happy. So there we go. Thanks for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life. And if you want to see me comparing my Accord with a Nissan Maxima, which was the car that I used as a placeholder while I was waiting to do this video, then click over here. And if you want to see me comparing my Accord with an Accord Euro R, the K20A version of this, then click over here, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.